Ready to start Module 2, Lesson 2. So we are working with the unit in this section. So back when we were doing flats and rods and units, we called a unit X. Now the unit is just going to be a whole, like a whole circle or a whole square. Sometimes it's going to be half a circle, they'll always tell us, but in this case, this is considered one whole. Think of it as one whole square pizza. And you are going to need highlighters. If you have like yellow and orange or yellow and pink, that would be good because our next one's going to be highlighted yellow. This one says orange. I don't have an orange highlighter, so I'm going to use pink. I have green, but not orange. Okay, so straight edge and highlighter. So use a straight edge, draw vertical lines to partition the figure into equal pieces. So vertical is like a flagpole, remember. Horizontal is like the horizon. Vertical is a flagpole. So we need to partition this into what we're going to call strips. So there's one strip. So instead of this standing for ones, tens, hundreds, thousands like they did in the first chapter, now they're going to stand for fraction and decimals, a tenth, a hundredth, a thousandth. So they're going to represent decimal places instead of whole numbers like they did in chapter 1. Because the box is one whole, so anything inside has to be less than 1. Okay, so how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then this last one will make it 9, 10. There we go. So our unit is now divided into 10 long pieces of pizza. So how many equal pieces did you partition the square into? And that is 10. If the square is a whole, what fraction represents each piece? So each of these is 1 out of 10. So we write that fraction as 1/10. If I were to color this in, let's say just one piece, then we would say one piece is colored in out of how many make a whole? 10. And that's how we write a fraction. The top number is how many are colored in. The bottom number is how many intervals or partitions we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1 out of 10 is colored in. If the square is the unit, so this whole thing counts as one whole, what word name represents each piece? So in other words, how would you write this in words? And it would be 1/10. And you just spell the word 10 and add a TH whenever we're doing fractions or decimal. 1/10 is how we would say that. Shade 3 of the equal parts with an orange highlighter. So we got one already shaded, so let's shade 2 more. Oh, I don't think my pink is going to make it through this. Maybe I have another one. Let me look real fast. Yep, I do. I love it when students leave highlighters in my room. It keeps me stocked up. Okay, so there we have it. So shade 3 pieces we have. And what fraction number represents the shaded area? So again, whenever we write fractions, it's how many are shaded over how many make a whole. So we have 3 are shaded over how many make a whole? 10. So that would be called 3/10 of the picture is shaded. What fraction number represents the area that is not shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are not shaded. Out of how many make a whole? 10. So 3/10 are shaded, 7/10 are not shaded, and these two should make a whole if we add them together, right? 3/10 plus 7/10 is 10/10. That makes a whole, because shaded plus unshaded should equal the whole figure. Okay, so now we got to do the whole ruler thing again, and then I think we're done with the ruler for a while. Now they want us to use a straight edge and draw the horizontal and the vertical. So see if you can predict why we're doing these, how many things are going to be formed if we can connect all the vertical and all the horizontal lines. So 2, 3, 4. So we already know from the vertical we're going to have 10 separate shades, but then when we add in the horizontal, that's going to break it down even further. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, all the vertical are done. Now we need to do the same thing with all the horizontal. So that makes 10 little boxes up there, and 10 more here to make 20, and 10 more here to make 30, and 10 more here to make 40, and 10 more here to make 50, 10 more here to make 60. Thank goodness we're done with this drawing. 10 more here to make 70. But we got a lot of shading in this chapter, tons of shading, especially in this section, but some in the others too. 10 more here, 90, and then 10 on the bottom. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 small squares. So, first question, how many pieces did you partition the square into? This time into 100. So when we did it into tenths, we were talking about tenths with the THS. Now we have it in hundredths, so we're going to be talking about hundredths with a THS at the name. So if the big square is the whole, what fraction represents each small square piece? So this one's going to be yellow. So if we just want this one piece, what fraction does that represent? Well, how many are shaded? 1 out of how many make a whole? 100. So that little box is considered 1/100th. And that's how you write the word name as well. So this is the fraction. Now we're going to write the word name. So you write the word 1 and then hundredth. So you spell 100 just like you always do, and then you add TH. So 1/100th. A lot of students want to take the D off and put the TH in. Nope. You spell the base word the same, and then you add a TH for the hundredths place. Shade 30 squares yellow. So we have 10, 20, and 30. Okay, now my yellow's running out. Jeepers, I wasn't very prepared for today, was I? So there are 30 shaded. And think about what we did in the last page. Weren't they the exact number shaded? 3 whole columns, 3 whole columns. So on this page, we called it 3/10. On this page, how many are shaded? 30. Out of how many make a whole? 100. So 30 shaded out of 100 make a whole. And you should hopefully remember back in the day that you can take the same number of zeros off a fraction. So I can remove one of these zeros and look what we get. 3/10. Same thing we had on the last page. So that means 30 100ths equals 3/10. Because it's when you cancel a zero from each, that's like dividing by 10. When you divide by 10, a zero goes off. When you divide by 10, a zero goes off. So we can deduce from that that 30 100ths is the same thing as 3/10. They're equal. It just depends what your thing is broken up into, but you can see we have the same amount shaded in both pictures. 3 whole columns, 3 whole columns. Compare your 2 grids. What relationship do you see between the shaded area? Oh, I guess that goes down there. I answered the question too fast. So our 30 100ths from this page is equal to our 3/10 from the first page, and we can verify that by doing canceling and see that that turns into 3 100ths when we divide both by 10. 1 orange is how many times as large as a yellow? So here's a yellow, and 1 orange is how many yellows? 10. So it's 1 orange is 10. So let's just write this out. 1 orange is 10 times larger than 1 yellow. So 1 yellow is just this, but our orange is 10 of those. So we say the orange is 10 times larger than 1 yellow. I hope you guys can read that. I kind of got it shoved in there. So 1 orange is 10 times larger than 1 yellow. Now they want us to switch it around. 1 yellow is what part of an orange? It's 1 out of 10 pieces. So 1 yellow is 1/10 of an orange strip. Well, ours are pink, but so see how the order makes a big difference? 1/10 is not the same thing as 10. So 1 orange strip is 10 times bigger than a yellow box. But 1 yellow is 1/10 of an orange strip, because an orange strip consists of 10 yellow boxes. Okay, so order matters, and that's going to be important, especially when we get to Module 3. So the order they ask, a yellow is what part of an orange? 1/10 of an orange. Okay, so that's your little introduction to decimals and fractions. And now we're going to practice. So the big square represents the unit. So pretty much from here on out, every time we see the big square, they're going to tell us that's a unit. Not always, but most of the time. So it's no longer going to represent a flat like it did in chapter 1 or module 1, because in module 1 we only did whole numbers. Now we're working with decimals and fractions, or we're going to be working with decimals and fractions. So now it is not a flat, it's considered a whole, like a whole pizza cut into 100 pieces. So 6 out of 10 equal parts. The big square represents the whole unit. Shade the following quantities. Write the quantities in terms of orange and yellow, the fraction word name and the fraction number name. So they want 6 out of 10 equal parts. So hopefully everybody understands that that wants us to do 6 strips. So we have 1 strip, 2 strips, 3 strips, 4 strips, 5 strips, 6 strips. So we have 6 out of 10 shaded. So how many orange strips is that? That is 6. How many squares is that? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So what is the fraction name? 6 out of 10 means 6 tenths, or we could say 60 out of 100. And remember, they're equal. We just learned that on the last page. Take a 0 off of each and you can see the 60 shaded out of 100 total turns into 6 tenths. So neither one of these are simplified. We don't have to do that right now. We're just working on their word names. So we'll do the fraction word name for the simplest of the two and write 6. And then we write the word 10 with THS. So that's pronounced 6 tenths. Okay, let's do one more and then you guys can practice on a couple. So this one says 40 out of 100 equal parts. So 10, 20, 30, 40. How many orange strips is that? That would be 4. How many yellow squares would that be? 10, 20, 30, 40. And we could write the fraction name in 2 ways. 4 out of 10 strips, or 40 out of 100 squares. And again, don't forget, they're the same thing. Take that 0 off, we get the 4 tenths. And then the fraction work name is 4 tenths. TENTHS. Okay, the next 2 are yours. So go ahead and shut off the video and work those 2 out, and then come back and join me and we'll check them together. Okay, so 37 out of 100. So that would be 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 37 out of 100. So how many orange strips? That would be 1, 2, 3 orange strips. And how many yellow squares? That would be, and I'm not really sure. Every semester I do this. I'm not sure if they want us to say 37 yellow squares or if they just want us to say 7, but I think they want us to say 37, but I'm not positive. So what's the fraction number for that? 37 are shaded out of a total of 100. And remember what we learned in the last chapter? Any number between 21 and 99 needs to be hyphened. So when we write the word name, we need a hyphen. 37 is between 21 and 99, so 30 hyphen 7. And then we spell the word 100 with a THS. So how'd everybody do there? And like I said, I'm not positive what they want us to write there, because there are 37 squares total, and we need that for this, so I think that's correct, but I don't know. They might just want the 7 that's left over. That's a tricky one. Okay, so next we have, oh, I'm going to get another big marker out. 5 out of 10. So let's do that first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 out of 10, and then they want 3 out of 100. So 5 out of 10 and 3 out of 100. Okay, so now I do think this was 7, or this is supposed to be 7 based on this one here. So let's just change that back to 7. So we have 3 strips and 7 squares, and then that makes 37 100ths. So number of orange strips, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number of yellow squares, 1, 2, 3. So that's going to make it 53 out of 100. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 1, 2, 3 out of 100 make a whole. 53 is also between 21 and 99. So 50 hyphen 3, and then write the word hundreds. So spell the word 100, THS. And there we go. And we got about 1 million more pages of these, so hang tight. Yeah, this is a long section. And I think 2.4 is even longer. It's like, holy cow, why didn't they divide these into smaller sections? 63 hundredths. Shade the shown quantity and write the matching decimal. So 63 hundredths. So that means 63 out of 100. So there's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 1, 2, 3. And we know the decimal is 63 over 100 from the last page. So to write that at, or not the decimal, the fraction. So to write that as a decimal, 100 has 2 zeros. So the decimal must have 2 decimal places. That means 2 numbers after the decimal. So it'd be 0.63. And that's read as 63 hundredths. And this is the tens, right? How many strips there are. And this is the hundredths, how many little boxes there are. So we'd say 6 times 1/10 plus 3 times 1, whoops, I started to write a fraction, 1/100th. And I've been told that Alex will take either one, because myself, I would rather write it like this. 6 times 1/10 plus 3 times 1/100th. So 3 boxes are shaded out of 100, 6 strips are shaded out of 10. So to me, that just makes more sense, and it's just a more comfortable way to write it. And these are the same thing. 0.01 is 1/100th, because there's 2 decimal places. That makes the denominator 100. 1 decimal place, that makes the denominator 10. So the number of decimal places always matches the number of zeros. So I've been told, I don't know it for a fact, I haven't tried it out, that Alex will take either one. Just read the directions. If it says expand the decimal, then they probably want decimals. If it says expand the fraction, then they probably want fractions. But they're exactly the same thing. This is a tenth, this is a tenth, this is 100th, this is 100th. So pick your poison, whichever one you like better. Okay, next we have 8 out of 100. So that's going to be all but the last 2 on the first column, or any 8. You could pick 8 scattered throughout. This just makes it easier to count. So hundredths has to have 2 decimal places. So we do 0.08. And students always go, well, why can't you do 0.80? Well, that's 80 100ths. This is 8 hundredths, so it has to have 2 decimal places because there's 2 zeros, and the 8 has to be at the end. And since it looks like they want us to expand the decimal, I'll just continue to do the decimal form. But like I said, I think Alex takes that too. So this would be 0 is in the hundredths place, plus 8 is in the tenths place. Nope, I did that backwards. Kim. 0 is in the tenths place, and 8 is in the hundredths place. I guess that's why I like the fractions better. So 0 times a tenth, because it's in the tenths place, 1 decimal place, and 8 is in the hundredths place. So it's just like when we expanded before, like when we were expanding 83, we went 8 times 10 plus 3 times 1. Same thing, but now we're expanding decimals. So 0 is in the tenths place, 8 is in the hundredths place, and this is read 1/10, or can be written as the fraction 1/10, and this is read 100th, or can be written as the fraction 1/100. Okay, 5/10 and 7/100, so that means 5 strips and 7 boxes, or squares. So 5 strips, because remember the strips are tenths, because 10 make a whole. So 5 strips, 7 squares. So we have 5 strips and 7 hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can see that represents 57 over 100. 57 are shaded out of 100 make a whole. And to write that as a decimal, it needs 2 decimal places, so it'd be 0.57. There's my 2 decimal places. And 5 is in the tenths place. So I'll do this one as a fraction. I'll just switch back and forth. 5 times a tenth plus 7 is in the hundredths place. 7 times 100th. So 5 tenths, 7 hundredths. Tenths, hundredths. And this says shade 3 out of 10. And then 8 out of 100. So 3 out of 10 would be 3 strips and then 8 out of 100 would be 8 squares. So that leaves us with 38 out of 100. And to write that as a decimal, a lot of students say that it's easier for them to go from fraction to decimal. So I just do that just to help. So 2 decimal places, so that'd be 0.38. And expanded, 3 is in the tenths place, so 3 times a tenth. Plus 8 is in the hundredths place, 8 times 100th. And that is how we expand decimals. So everybody do okay on those? Okay. Let me just count here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do a couple more pages. Shade the known quantity, then write the matching fraction, word name, and expanded form. And I think this is how it is on your test. They give you a box, you have to shade it, then you have to write the fraction for it, then the word name for it, and then the expanded. So this is what I'm thinking of. This one, the expanded form is fractions. That one, the expanded form was decimals. I knew there was something to the, oh, they'll take either way. It all depends on what you're doing. So now we're going to be using fractions. So this is read 9/10. So that's my first thing, is to write it as a fraction, because to me it makes more sense as a fraction. I know that means shade 9 out of 10 strips. And I know it's tenths because it's 1 decimal place. So now I shade 9 out of 10, which will be all of them in the box except for one column. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. No wonder all my highlighters are running out, huh? Okay, so we already wrote the fraction. That's what we used to help us with this one. So the fraction is 9 over 10. We write that as 9/10 with the THS at the end, just like the decimal. And last but not least, expanded form. Now we do have fractions, so that would be 9 is in the tenths place, so 9 times 1/10, because it's in the tenths place, the first place after the decimal. And we know that because of the fraction name. So 9 times 1/10. You could also write plus 0 over 100 times 1 over 100 if you wanted, but no need to, because there's not a 0 in the problem, so there's no reason to put it there, but it would never be counted wrong. Okay, so this one is 80. There's 2 decimal places, so we pick the number with 2 zeros, which is 100. So that's read 80 hundredths. And we read it just like we write it, 80 100 with a THS. So 80 100 with a THS. And expanded form. Now this one you would probably want to put the 0 in, where here you don't really need it because it's not written in the problem. Here, because the 0's written, you will want to put that in. So that would be, let me just bring it down here so we have it. Oh no, we want to do it with fractions, that's right. So that would be 8 times, oh man, am I messing up? 8 times 1/10 plus 0 times 100. And like I said, here not really needed because the original problem didn't have a 0 in the hundreds place, but here the original problem does have a 0 in the hundreds place, so you probably do want to write 1 over 100. So 8 is in the tenths place, 0 is in the hundreds place. So 8 times 1/10 plus 0 times 100. And that one would have 80 out of 100 colored in, so that would be 8 strips. Okay, the next two are yours. So go ahead and shade those in, answer the 3 questions, and then come back and we'll check them together. So this is 38 hundredths. So 38 over 100, because there's 2 decimal places, so that means shade 38 out of 100. So we have 3 strips and 8 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think I'll lay off on the yellow for a while. And that fraction, as we already said, is 38 hundredths. And that's how we write it too. We write it and read it the same way. So 38 is between 21 and 99, so it needs a hyphen. So 38 hundredths. So spell the word hundred and then THS. Place value, 3 is in the tenths place, so that would be 3 times 1/10. Plus 8 is in the hundredths place, 8 times 1 over 100. And remember, like I said, Alex is interchangeable on this, I hear. So if you like this way better, 3 is in the tenths place, plus 8 is in the hundredths place, you help yourself. Whatever you're more comfortable with. And last but not least on this page, we have 0.5. So let's turn that to a fraction first. So that would be 5, and there's 2 decimal places, so that would be over 100. So that means we're only shading 5 out of 100 squares. So that would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half of a strip. So we already wrote the fraction down. The fraction is 5 over 100. And the word name is just like we read the fraction, 5 hundredths. So 5 and then 100 with THS. And when we're doing place values, 0 is in the tenths place. So 0 times 1/10. Plus 5 times 100th, because 5 is in the hundredths place. So it's just like counting this way. We go 0, tens, hundreds, thousands. Here we don't say ones, we say tenths, hundredths. So here it's ones place first, and then tens, and then hundreds. But here, after the decimal, it starts with tenths, because 10 has 1 0, so 10 is 1 decimal place. Okay, so let's go ahead and try a couple more. So now they're adding in thousandths. So if you took this box and broke it up into 10 pieces, each piece would be 1,000. So what they did is took this box, partitioned it into 10 pieces, and each of these is a thousandths. 1,000th, 2,000ths, 3,000ths. So this says 3 strips, 3 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 100, and then 6 thousandths, which would be 5 plus 1. So that would be 3 tenths, 4 hundredths, 6 thousandths. And thousandths, the number 1,000 has 3 zeros, so that means thousandths has 3 decimal places. So the tenths place is going to be a 3, the hundredths place is going to be a 4, and the thousandths place is going to be a 6. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So that is the decimal number. Okay, so you guys try the next one. 5 hundredths and 7 thousandths. Okay, so 5 hundredths means 5 out of 100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 100. And then 7 thousandths. 2, 4, 6, 7. So when you go to write a number that has a thousandths place, always remember 1,000 has 3 zeros. Therefore, thousandths has 3 decimal places. Let me get it here so we can see the whole picture. So then we write 0, and we say what number is in the tenths place? Well, there's no strips. So since there are no strips, that means the number in the tenths place is 0. What number's in the hundredths place? 5. What number's in the thousandths place? 7. So that means there should be no strips, 5 boxes, and 7 in the thousandths, and that's exactly what our picture shows. So tenths are strips, and there are no strips colored. That's why we have to put the 0 there. You can't just leave it off, because remember what I said, thousandths needs 3 decimal places. A tenths place, a hundredths place, and a thousandths place. Okay, let's do a couple more. Like I said, there's a million of these. So let's do the first one, and you guys can do the second one. So this one says 4 thousandths. So we just do 4 in the thousandths box and nothing else. So since the number has thousandths, I know there's 3 decimal places, so I say how many strips are there? 0, no tenths. How many boxes are there? 0, no hundredths. How many thousandths are there? 4. So that's how you would write 4 thousandths. So no tens, tenths, no hundredths, just 4 thousandths. Okay. Go ahead and shut off the video and do number 4, and then come back and we'll check it together. Okay, so we have 8 tens. That means 8 strips. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then it says there's 2 thousandths. So to write that number as thousandths, we know there's 3 decimal places again. And I say, how many strips are there? 8. How many separate little boxes are there? 0. No hundredths. See how the word hundredths is not up there? How many thousandths are there? 2. So 8 strips, 0 boxes outside the strips, and 2 thousandths. And that's what made me change my mind about, instead of writing 37 to write 7, because I knew they were coming in this direction. So 8 strips, 0 squares, 2 thousandths. Okay, is this the last 2? No, we still have a lot left. Okay, so we're at 45 minutes, so we'll stop there. It looks like this one's going to take 3 videos, I think. So I'll see you back here in a bit on the second video.